A very good morning, student. Today we are learn about the our next chapter, and the name of chapter is Introduction to Plant Physiology. This slide is of first chapter, our first chapter, and that first chapter is very easy chapter, and in this chapter only two lectures are there. In these two lecture we are discuss about what is plant physiology, definition of plant physiology, and third most important part is scope and application of the plant physiology. Let us start the chapter. First of all, introduction. What is mean by plant physiology? Plant physiology is a interdisciplinary science. Its main aim is to get a complete and thorough knowledge of all phenomena occurring in the plants. The dictionary meaning of the plant physiology is the science of properties and functions of plants as organism in normal condition. Hence, according to this introduction or according to this line, simply the plant physiology, it is a branch of science or it is a branch of botany which deals with the various physiological processes performed by the plant. Another meaning is plant physiology, it is a branch of botany which deals with the various metabolic processes occurred in the plant. Then you question that what is meant by physiological process or metabolic process. Physiological or metabolic processes, they are same. You know all these processes, but you not aware about this word physiological process or metabolic processes. Metabolic processes or physiological processes are the processes which occur in the plant's life from its birth to its death. For example, seed germination, it is a metabolic process. Seedling formation, it is metabolic process. Photosynthesis, respiration, then flowering, fruiting, branching, and lastly senescence or dying of the plant. All these processes are nothing but the metabolic processes or physiological processes. And in this subject we learn all these processes or fundamental things of all these processes. That means how these processes occur, which factor affecting these processes, and how the mechanism is there behind all these processes. They are studied in the plant physiology subject. So in this chapter, this is the all about the introduction of plant physiology. Each subject having its own definition. Different scientists, different researchers give their definitions, and out of which the more accepted definition they are put forwarded, and they are accepted all by the other scientists also, out of which we take here some definitions, out of which first is the plant physiology is a branch of plant science in which various life processes and metabolic activities of the plant are studied. In this definition, again two words are there, life processes and metabolic activities. They are same. Photosynthesis, respiration, they are the life processes. Seedling formation, seed germination, they are the life processes or metabolic processes. And the study of these processes are occurred in the plant physiology. This is the first definition. Second definition is plant physiology is a discipline of botany where the structure of the cell, tissue and organs and associated processes and functions are studied. Not only study various metabolic processes but also the structure of the cell. For example, these metabolic processes are undertaken which part of the plant, which part of the cell, they are also known to us. For example, photosynthesis occurred in the chloroplast. Then respiration occurred in the mitochondria. This is the part of cell where that specific process is occurred. So we must know about that cell structure for the study of that process. Hence, in this definition, where the structure of cell, tissue or organ, they are also studied. We must know about the cells, structure of cell, tissue and organ and associated processes. For example, chloroplast associated with photosynthesis, mitochondria associated with respiration. This is the meaning of this definition and it is elaborated very good manner. Next one is the plant physiology. It is the science which deals with the function of cell, tissue, organ or the plant as a whole. Not only specific part of the plant, but as a whole we study all the plant and each and every part of the plant, and in that part which processes are occurred, they are also studied in the plant physiology. In this way, simply these are the different definitions of the plant physiology. Before seeing the scope and application of plant physiology, we must know about the brief history of the plant physiology. How physiology are started, who first initiated to learn about the physiology or doing the various experiment in the physiology. For that purpose, our next part is the history of physiology. It is very short. I take only the important points where the various physiological terms are initiated only, not all history, because this part is not included in our syllabus, but till we known about this history of the plant physiology. So I take this point in this part. First of all, the processes of plant physiology and different aspect in physiology may be understood well by its historical account as to below. What is historical account? Historical account is nothing but the part in which various historical processes of plant physiology are occurred, and we must, each and every plant physiologist or who studied plant physiology, they must know about the brief history of plant physiology. How this subject arise, who is the first scientist who experiment in the plant physiology, we must that. For that purpose, this topic is here, in which first is the starting. Who start? In 1940, Decos, he start the plant physiology. He do nothing, but that is the first step toward the plant physiology. What is done? He done that water is a source of increase in weight of growing plant. What is say? Water is a source of increasing in weight of growing plant. All of we know that each and every plant require the water, and if we give the water, the weight of plant is increases. He tells only that, but that is the first step toward the plant physiology, that water is the source and without water plant cannot be grow. That is the first step, D. Cos in 1940. Next is the in 1644 Van Hamilton. What he say? He say that plants obtain nutrient from the soil and water. What he say? It is covered plant offer nutrient from soil and water. That means plants obtain various nutrient and water from soil only. Soil is the main source of the nutrient, and from the soil plant absorb the nutrient as well as the water. What is the next step? Next step is in 1721 Stephen Hales. He discovered that water absorption and importance of light in plant life he is caused. So this research is he called as the father of plant physiology. you think that what is in this research, that is only one statement that light is required for plant, but in that time there is no microscope, no such equipment that study the plant. At that time he studied, and that is the first step, that plant requires the light, and with the help of light they doing the something. They till now they don't know that with the help of light plant produces the carbohydrate, but in this step they known about that absorption and importance of light in plant life. And this is the most important step in plant physiology, and through this the next invention, next research can be undertaken. So Stephen Hales, he is known as the father of plant physiology. Next step, in 1772, Joseph Priestley, what he done? First experiment leading to discover of gaseous exchange between plant and atmosphere. What he say that plants are the medium, and through the plant different gases can be exchanged in the atmosphere and in plant body. That is another important step in the plant physiology, gaseous exchange. That means the plant absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide, or vice versa. In photosynthesis, in respiration they absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide, but in photosynthesis process they absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. This is the another milestone in the plant physiology. Next one is the, again history is continue. First is the in 1782. In 1782, J. Senebier, he demonstrated that plants absorb CO2 from the air. Joseph Priestley said that there is a gaseous exchange, but here in this step carbon dioxide is there. Carbon dioxide is included in the plant's life. That is another milestone in the plant physiology. He said that he demonstrated that plant absorb carbon dioxide, and that absorption through the air by the pores which is present on the plant body, that is nothing but the stomata which is present on the leaf. After that, in 1826, Dutroux, there are different milestone, different theories are there, but I took here some important theories only, not all theories. Next important was the 1826 Dutroux. He said that theory of osmosis was published. We know that in FYBSc we learn about the diffusion, osmosis and other things. Here Dutroux, he put here the theory of osmosis, and he published that theory in the form of research paper. What is osmosis? Osmosis, it is an important phenomenon in which the various matter, for example in osmosis only liquid, not the gas or not the solid, only liquid, they can move from its higher concentration to its lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Here semi-permeable membrane is essential in osmosis. And solution or a solvent, we say that the solvent or solute, solution is made up from the solvent and solute, they comes together and solution is made. But here in osmosis only solvent, they moves from its higher concentration to its lower concentration through a membrane, through a semi-permeable membrane, and that is known as the osmosis. This is published in 1826. After that, in 1884, Dixon and Joly, he put another important theory, and that theory is nothing but the another part. First of all, plant required water, that is the first part, but Beside that, he put again one theory, that is nothing but the ascent of sap. What is meant by sap? Sap is nothing but the different mineral nutrient which is present into the water, and that combinedly called as the sap. That means in plant where sap is present, that sap is nothing but the water plus various nutrient. But he tells that ascent of the sap. Ascent means to move from lower side to the upper side. That is nothing but the ascent. And ascent of sap. Where this sap is present? That sap is present into the soil only. Soil only, and we know that various nutrients they are present only in the soil, but they are not separate. They are mixed with the water and make a solution, and they combinedly known as the sap. That sap is present into the soil, and from soil that is absorbed by the plants through the root, and that process of absorption of the sap through the root toward the uppermost part of the plant, that process is known as the ascent of sap. But that ascent of sap is taken by various mechanism, and Dixon and Joly explain about the transpiration pull mechanism and force of water mechanism. What is meant by transpiration? Loss of water through aerial part of plant, that is the transpiration, and that transpiration is responsible for ascent of sap. Next one is the in 1920 Garner and Allard, what they said, what they discovered? They discovered the physiology of flowering. Plant grows and completed its vegetative growth. After the vegetative growth, reproductive growth is there, and the one of the sign of reproductive growth is nothing but the flowering. And how this flower arises? Is there any chemical which is responsible to flowering? All these related aspect they are discovered by Garner and Allard. We are also seen this chapter in our last chapter. Next one is the in 1920 Wendt. The Wendt discovered the role of growth regulator. What is meant by growth regulator? In the world itself explain the meaning. Growth, that means the development, and regulator, to regulate. Growth regulator are nothing but the chemical or substances which regulate the growth of the plant. And when discovered this growth regulator, each and every plant have specific growth regulator to its some part, and that growth regulator are responsible to grow the whole plant. Next discovery is nothing but the in 1926 Kurosawa. There are the different growth regulator, but Kurosawa he discovered the gibberellin. All of we aware about the gibberellin. Mostly in the grapes farm, the gibberellin is mostly used as a growth regulator to enhance the growth of the plant as well as the fruit. Gibberellin are used, and that gibberellin they are extracted from a fungus. The name of fungus is the Gibberella fusicova, and from that fungus only the gibberellin are extracted, and the main function of gibberellin to enhance the growth of the fruit or the plant, or to expand the growth of the fruits. That is the main function of the gibberellin. They are also studied in our one chapter. After that, in 1930, Hans Krebs he discovered the Krebs cycle. We all known about the Krebs cycle. It is also in 12th. After that, Robert Hill discovered the role of water in photosynthesis. We all know about the photosynthesis process. What is photosynthesis process? Carbon dioxide plus water molecule in presence of light and chlorophyll pigment, they produces the carbohydrate, water, and release oxygen into the atmosphere. That is nothing but the photosynthesis process. But here what is product? Three product are there: carbohydrate, water molecule, and oxygen. Robert Hill discovered in this reaction that water, what is the role of water in photosynthesis? Photosynthesis, or again the oxygen molecule is released from which component, CO2 or H2O? He research on that and he finally tell that when we see the reaction, we think that the oxygen in this reaction will come from the carbon dioxide only, because in carbon dioxide there is CO2. We think that that oxygen is coming from that CO2, but it is wrong. Robert here tell that the photolysis of water, that means the breakdown of the water molecule, and due to the breakdown of the water molecule, this oxygen is come and it is into the goes into the atmosphere, release into the atmosphere. This is this discovery. After that, in 1949, Melvin Kelvin, he discovered the path of carbon in photosynthesis and carbon assimilation in plant, and that is called as the C3 cycle. It is the well known cycle. It is also in 12th, and for that discovery Kelvin was awarded as Nobel Prize in 1961. This is the most important discovery in plant physiology, so that he get a Nobel Prize. In this way, these are some important historical event or historical milestones in the life of plant physiology. Nowadays we know each and everything about the plant physiology, and this subject is a huge important, huge scope in the plant physiology, in the various branches of the botany, as well as the botany, chemistry and other parts, because our main need is nothing but the food, shelter, and third one is the clothes. This is the main requirement of human being, and all these needs are improved or fulfilled with the help of plant physiology only. That is the main scope of plant physiology. Plant gives all our, or it gives all our basic need, that is nothing but the food, clothes and shelter. Think about that. Plant are only source which gives us food, no, none of other things, and that is the most important scope of plant physiology, because with the help of food only we can get the energy, and with the help of that energy we perform various function in our life. So it is an important branch of botany. Let us see one by one the scope of plant physiology. There are the before that, the plant physiology study, they are mainly concerned with the understanding with the basic or fundamental processes that govern the plant growth and development. We must about the various fundamental processes in plant physiology or in plants life, their growth and development. They are outcome of the plant interaction with the surrounding, which is part of study of plant physiology. Plant itself is not grown, it also needs the various external factor. Which are these external factor? This external factor is nothing but the water, soil, light, wind velocity, availability of nutrient into the soil. These are the outermost factor, and combinedly plant plus all these outermost factor, they come together and growth of plant can be undertaken. So we must learn about all these things in plant physiology. Let us see one by one the various function or scope of the plant physiology, in which first one is the vital function of life regularly going on its the plant body, and they are coordinated by the development of plant tissue. The complex arrangement of tissue and function of tissue may be understood well, and not only the plant's growth but each and every cell, each and every tissue, we must about the function of every tissue in plant physiology. Then and then only we can perform the various functions, various aspect in plant physiology. Hence, plant physiology has a great scope in understanding the internal morphology of plant also. We must know, we must aware about the internal morphology. Hence, plant physiology and morphology, they combine together. There are the different branches of the botany. They are related with the plant physiology. And for example, morphology, anatomy, ecology, plant chemistry, genetics, biophysics, organic chemistry, biotechnology, and all genetic engineering, all these are the branches. They are related, or the base of all these branches are on only plant physiology. What I say, the base of all these sciences are nothing but the plant physiology. For all that, tissue culture technology, biotechnology, we must know about the first plant physiology. Then and then only we can study the biotechnology, plant chemistry, or uh, tissue culture. These, so they are interrelated with each other, but the base is only plant physiology. Next one is close relationship. Close relationship with the various sciences. I explain about that, especially physics and chemistry. It is through advance made in study of physics and chemistry that new light has regularly been thrown on physiology. For example, water and salt absorption can be elaborated and understood well by clear understanding of physical phenomena like osmosis, root pressure, cohesive force of water, and pull due to the evaporation. All these chemical reactions or physical factor, they are uh, close relationship with the plant physiology. This is one point. Next point is the to understand the chemistry. That is nothing but the in plant physiology, the science of chemistry contribute a lot about understanding the chemistry of plant material. Not directly the chemistry, but here chemistry of plant material, because we must know about various chemical processes which is performed by the plant. The mysteries of physiological function of life explained well after discovery of the plant pigment. Plant having different type of pigment, for example chlorophyll pigment, xanthophyll pigment, and discoveries of this, it is again a milestone. Not only the pigment, but also various enzyme in the plant body, synthesis of organic compound from simpler food element. Plant physiology has the scope in understanding the chemistry of whole plant life. Hence, it is the related to the chemistry also. Plant physiology and chemistry, they are going forward with the help of each other. This is our plan point. Next one is the contribution in the cell biology. We know about the what is meant by cell biology. Cell biology is nothing but the study of cell. Study of cell and its various part, not only its various part, but also each and every part, what they function, they are studied in cell biology only. Hence, cell biology takes into account study of structural detail of cell wall, membranes, mitochondria, chloroplast, endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, ribosome, protoplasm, etc., etc., etc. These structures and their specific functions, they are correlated with its part of plant physiology. As we say that the chloroplast, photosynthesis is occurred into the chloroplast, that is its main function, and that are studied in the plant physiology. The study of physical and chemical properties of protoplasm has solved to a great extent by complexity of life function. In this point, the protoplasm, it is present into the cell, and the study from that protoplasm, we solve various functions also, not only into specific part of the cell, but also in the protoplasm various function can be performed, and it is also discovered by plant physiology with the cell biology. Next one, pure and applied botany. In various pure sciences and applied botany, physiology plays an important role. It provides an essential link between the biochemical and ecological aspect of the subject. By proper understanding of physiological process, other subjects like biochemistry, morphology, pathology, genetics and ecology may be documented with the help of plant physiology. Next one, expresses ideas of genetic and ecological ecology. Physiology plays an important role for expressing the ideas of genetic and ecology. Thus, this science has scope in understanding the inheritance, gene action, gene regulation, which is the part of genetics only. All physiological regulation in the environment trigger called the environmental physiology. What? Physiological regulation in environment triggered called environmental physiology. That is nothing but the environmental physiology, and we must know, each and every physiologist known about these functions. Ecology is a discipline which deals with the study of interrelationship of organism and environment, occupies a significant place in the field of physiology. As in this point said that ecology, what is ecology? Ecology is nothing but the interrelationship of the organism and environment, and plants are grown only in the environment, and on that plant various various organisms are depend for their food, and so that purpose the interrelationship between the organism and environment we must known, and for that purpose physiology plays an important role. Next one is the related with the morphology, systematic and anatomy. These are the basic sciences only. Morphology, study of the external part. Systematic, it is the systematic study of the plant related to the taxonomy, and anatomy, it is the internal study of plant part, that is known as the anatomy. Internal structure of plant part, they are studied in anatomy, and it has a great scope in interpretation of form of plant part in term of functions and solving certain taxonomic problem. So here is the relationship between plant physiology and all these branches like morphology, systematics and anatomy. For example, we may know about the life of the plant, and for that purpose externally when we take a section of a wood, on that wood there are the circular rings are there, and that rings explain us the life, or they gives idea about life of the plant, because each ring for every year, that means every year add one circular line in that wood. Hence when we take the section, or you see a wooden block is there, on that wooden block circular rings are there, and that each ring for 1 year, that is done or that is made up in the secondary growth in the plant's life. So we can known about also the age of the plant with the help of anatomy. So it is related to the anatomy and plant physiology. Next one is the molecular biology and tissue culture. As we know, that are the emerging branches in the science, molecular biology and tissue culture. Here plant physiology has a huge scope in these branches, and to understand the exact physiological phenomenon of growth and development. Without understanding exact physiology of plant cell, tissue and organ, no tissue culture is possible without the knowledge of the plant physiology. To understand genetic regulatory mechanism, protein synthesis, knowledge of plant physiology is essential. These are the recent branches, not only tissue culture but also the biotechnology, not and the genetic engineer, they require the knowledge of the plant physiology for its best performance. So it has a huge scope in the plant physiology. In this way, these are some important scope of plant physiology. Thus, plant physiology has unlimited scope in designing experiments, understanding plant chemistry and function of the cell. Not only the function of the cell but also function of tissue, organ and whole plant. Plant physiology has a scope in training of all applied plant biologists, agriculturists, and horticulturists who are concerned with the problem of practical and economical and commercial importance of the plant. In this way, this is all about the scope of plant physiology, and I think that you understand each and everything about plant physiology, definition of plant physiology, and scope of plant physiology. If there are some doubt, please ask on the group, on the classroom, Google Classroom. I explain again, or I give in writing form your questions, answers. Thank you. Not only thank you, but see this picture. What this picture elaborate? Think about that, and we discuss about this picture in our next lecture. In short, each and every our lecture must have some important thinking in our life. So not only learn about the botany but learn about various things around us. Is this future? Is this future? Think about that, and is important to your life. These are some questions, so think about that. We are in short discuss about this picture in the next lecture. Thank you.